Hello and welcome back to Quasi Trek. It's another cold, snowy day where I'm living, which I'm still not going to disclose just yet where that is. That's for a future video. But in keeping with my goal to catch up on back videos that I've never edited and published from the last year and a half or so of my travels, this next video is of a voyage I made from Colorado to New York in the summer of 2024. It was a 4-day drive. I had intended to camp out the whole way across. I did camp out in Nebraska my first night on the road, which was very uneventful, so no video of that. The next 2 nights there was a ridiculous heat dome in the Midwest, so I just stayed in hotels because it was insanely hot. And then finally on the last night, I found a really nice state park on the shores of Lake Erie in southwestern New York, and I spent a whole day there and then overnight. And it wasn't a big park, but it packed a lot of wallop for its size, and I really enjoyed my stay. So that's what this is. Enjoy, and we'll see you on the next one. So I am on the shores of Lake Erie in New York State, very southwest corner of New York State. Well, I've made my detour and decided to stay here at Lake Erie State Park in the southwest corner of New York State. I already drove 5 hours today from the middle of Ohio, and I probably got another 4 hours to get to my final destination. And this was always kind of bookmarked on my journey, and I figured I'd check it out and see what it looked like in the moment. And it's a beautiful park, and it's not super crowded right now. Hopefully it stays this way. And it's not stifling hot like it was at my last 3 stops. You know, it's 85 degrees, but you know, that's workable. But yeah, really pretty. Another benefit of being back in New York, because New York's dairy country, at least the part that I'm from, so I got some chocolate milk. And man, that's good chocolate milk. It's not True Moo or Nestle Quick, the stuff they sell in the stores out west. This is locally sourced, good chocolate milk, and it's been on ice in my cooler for the last couple of hours. So good. All right, so I'm underway here. I think this is the trail off my campsite. I mean, I'll admit I'm biased and partial because I grew up in New York, but to me, and you know, I can say this from experience now because I've traveled through so many parts of this country at this point, there's just nothing like a mid-Atlantic New England forest. I mean, there's so much variation in the tree species, both in evergreens and deciduous trees. The undergrowth, the little sun-splashed meadows, the fallen trees. Look at the gnarled wood over there, and just the level of green. You just don't see it elsewhere. I'm sorry, it's just, to me, and I know this phone camera is not going to accentuate what I'm seeing in terms of the colors because it's a little dark in here, but just beautiful. That must be it. It smells like lilac. I suppose that could be lilac.
and it's just small right now. Jasmine? No, that's jasmine. That's what I'm smelling. I mean, I'm just walking in the woods and it's wild jasmine. It just smells delightful. Oh, man. The lake bed down there looks to be almost completely made out of solid rock. You know, I'm seeing like long fracture lines going out into the water. And I can see, like, you know, it's like rectangular slabs of rock. No seaweed. The water's pretty clear. Yeah, I'm down further, you know, a mile up here. There's a swimming area where you can get down to the water. But yeah, it looks like the rest of this park, it's just a little cliff going down to the water. But yeah, really interesting that lake bed. It's complete rock. I don't know what it is, but that wreck house there in the middle of the park here, something about that reminds me of the Overlook Hotel from The Shining. I just realized that I walked all the way down here and forgot to get my bathing suit. I got distracted by the pretty sights. Fortunately, there's a restroom over there. It looks like the closest one. So I've got to backtrack here a little bit, but no big deal. All right, so I've changed into my swimsuit, and I'll tell you, this swimsuit is a pretty good yardstick for my fitness. It's hard to believe that about a year ago, I was in like over 40 men's Olympic shape. I was pretty fit and trim, and you know, these swim trunks at that time were so loose on me that I couldn't even tighten them. You know, I got to the point where, you know, the tie wouldn't go any further. Now they're pretty snug. So, but I like having a goal, and looks like my new goal after a winter in Colorado, eating a poor diet and really not getting enough vigorous exercise to get back in shape. I'm back east. I have access to fresh vegetables, fresh fruit, fresh fish. So I'll be snapping back into shape pretty quick here, but not today. Beautiful lake. This water is so perfect. It's not cold, but it's not warm. Over there you can see how there's like a little cliff in most places on the shoreline here, but here it's a little beach. I'll take it. Time to go for a swim. Well, that was perfect. That water is perfect. It's not cold, but it's refreshing. Yeah, got to swim in Lake Erie, fully submerged. And it's really cool because it's basically like as though the lake bed is a solid piece of concrete or rock, totally smooth, with an inch or so of silt or sand on it. Okay, so it's not grease or anything, but that's some pretty clear water. And I'm not going to go any deeper than this because I just dried my swim trunks. But, you know, this is about 2 feet of water right there, crystal clear. And that lake bottom is really just a totally smooth slab of rock with an inch or so of sand and silt on it. And that's not just here, I mean just all up and down the shoreline, out as far as it goes, with an occasional boulder mixed in. Just beautiful. So it's 6 p.m. going for a little walk. Weather has definitely taken a turn since I've arrived here. But yeah, just gonna walk on down to the water here and see what it looks like. So just behind that picnic table is, I believe, a woodchuck. He's a big flabby fellow. He ran across the trail when he heard me coming. Look at him. Now, what is this? Some sort of a bird over there giving himself a dust bath. I don't know what that is, though. He's got a red head, white back, brown wings, and a gray crest. Likes his dust bath. I came across this little patch earlier on my way back from swimming in the lake, and I just love it. You know, it's such a splash of color and life. I don't know what those white flowers are. Actually, I don't know what any of them are except for one. I don't know what the white flowers are. I don't know what those purple lavender colored ones are, or the pink ones in the back there. But I do know what these red berries are, and those are raspberries, and a whole lot of them. This raspberry patch is about 9 feet tall and runs 100 feet around this thatch of trees. Yeah. Beautiful little spot right here, though. Just a quintessential New York patch of vegetation in the middle of summer. That's not uncommon. I think I may have found my happy place. Good God, there's a ton of raspberry bushes here. Yeah, I wanted to find a place to kind of get a little safety from this passing electrical storm, and this gazebo up here looks like just the spot. Yeah, this park just keeps going. I think that goes back to the main part of the park, but I'm gonna follow this little trail here, see where it goes. Boy, this bird is just singing up a storm over here. He's a little bird. I don't know what he is. Long tail feathers up there on the branch. So he is working hard. But yeah, I don't think I want to go down here. It is pretty, but I think I'm gonna stick to the bluffs near the water, because I'd certainly like to see some kind of a sunset. You know, it's trying to happen, but it's very overcast, but I think I'd still like to go this way. Well, it's trying to do a sunset. We're still an hour and a half or more away. We'll see if that's enough of an opening in the clouds over there for something spectacular to happen, but I can't complain, man. I'm standing up here on a bluff overlooking Lake Erie, which is 30 feet down the cliff below me. And there's a nice, cool, refreshing breeze coming off of this lake at a time where the rest of this region of the country is just sweltering hot. Yeah, could be a lot worse. So hopefully my camera is catching these birds, small flock of fly catcher birds. And there's certainly a fair share of flies out here. I was just sitting on this bench. I kept thinking that mosquitoes were landing on me, but they're actually flies. Yeah. I don't know if I'll get a sunset. If that hole in the clouds way, way far across the lake holds up, I might. Well, I think my patience might pay off here, because it's looking like all the elements of a really good sunset. It's just the right amount of clouds. There's a little bit of humidity in the air. Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty special. Yeah, it's looking really promising for a good sunset. And on top of that, I'm feeling raindrops. So there is a possibility that we could get a sunset and a rainbow at the same time. That would be unheard of. I don't think I've ever, well, no, I lived in Florida, so that happened, but it would be pretty cool. Special moments. I am just slurping this up. It is amazing. Oh, look at this. So, I've got a rainbow behind me. And an amazing sunset this direction. Well, I don't think that I'm gonna catch the very final pop down, but that was pretty epic. You know, I had this amazing sunset behind me. It's every bit as good as anything I ever saw over the Gulf of Mexico and Florida. And then up here in the sky behind me for a little while, there was a pretty cool rainbow. And just a beautiful, cool, refreshing breeze after a hot day. Yeah. Amazing. Well, sunset happened. It's down. I actually did see it go behind the water. It was pretty cool, but still looks pretty good even after sunset. Such a different experience from a Florida sunset, you know, just as beautiful. They're comparable. Here, just different, you know, you got the green grass and the leafy trees and the raspberry bushes growing along the top of the bluffs, and then the bluffs, which are little cliffs going down to the water. You know, Florida, the water would be nice and warm to swim in, and this is refreshing, we'll just say that. You know, Florida, you have that nice sand. Just a different experience, but both of them amazing.